guys, welcome to Overcrest. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jake.
And this episode is a bridge.
A bridge?
A bridge. It's a bridge from where we were before Sports Car Vacation Land to now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a song, okay? I think this is like a minute long. I just want you to bear with me.
Okay.
And just listen. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair
lady.
You know
that
the
is
song.
The creepiest rendition of that I've ever heard.
I've tried to find the creepiest one. And you know this song, Jake. Everybody does. Everybody knows this song. Kids are singing it. They're clapping their hands. Parents are trying to get their kids to sing it back to them. But nobody stops to think about what the nursery rhyme really means. Falling down, burning, collapsing, misery. This is
this Pockets Full of Posy? Right?
No, that's Ring Around the Rosie.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a different.
That's also a very, very dark song.
It is, however, not transportation related. You know, I'm trying to keep things
bubonic plague
related.
Yes, not.
So this is about a real bridge, Jake. At one time, the London Bridge, and at one time, yes, go ahead.
I drove across.
Have you?
Not in London, the original.
Yeah,
London
we'll get
Bridge.
there. I'm going to yell at you and give you a real hard time about that. At one time, the London Bridge wasn't just a stone across water. It was a whole neighborhood. Houses, shops, a church, even palaces, jammed onto a skeleton of ancient arches, shoved on top of a murky tidal river. For almost 2,000 years.
Is that what it is?
It is. It is the River Thames. That's right.
Okay.
For almost 2,000 years, it burned, rotted, froze, collapsed, drowned people, choked the Thames, and yet somehow held together long enough to carry London itself across time to where we are today. And that's the thing. The miracle of the London Bridge isn't that it stood untouched. It is that it burned, broke, and had to be patched over and over again. It was always in a perpetual state of falling down, just like the song says. The miracle is, though, through all this punishment, it still managed to carry the city across the Thames for centuries.
Do we have more history on the song itself?
There's not much out there, man.
Like, where did it, when?
Around the 1600s is where the song kind of started to appear. Yeah, so the song is from the 1600s. And it's a longer song, too.
Yeah,
I don't want to play
I'm sure with all nursery rhymes, like, there's
the whole song is about all of these different
calamities, we'll call them.
Yeah, but it's also about, like, holding it up with pins and needles, holding it up with iron and steel. It's, like, all about holding the bridge up. Because this thing was critical. And that's what we're going to talk about. But first, we have to go way back and set the stage a little bit, okay?
Okay.
First century. First century. So we're talking thousands of years ago, Jake. Thousands.
Which, fun fact, is not the 1000s. The first century is 0 to 999.
Yeah. The first century, this is, okay, so we're talking first century Britain. 0 to 100. 80.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, 99, not
999, because that would be what's a century is 100 years. What's 1,000 years? A millennia.
Yes.
So to the Romans, Britain was the edge of the world. Think fog, mud, tribes with blue paint smeared on their skin, cold, living in small round houses of timber and thatch, farming grain and herding animals. Their lives
was it a third world country? Like the Romans were much more civilized?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The English was very unciviliized.
Right. Their lives were organized in warrior clans tied by kinship and ritual. Meanwhile, in Rome, Caesar was, had come there 100 years earlier. Yeah. He came there, he fought a couple of skirmishes, he won, and then he sailed back to Bragg, which left unfinished business. Enter Emperor Claudius. That's awkward, isn't it? Enter Emperor Claudius.
Claudius.
You needed a win, man. He needed a win. He was considered weak. He was mocked in Rome as a stammering, limping scholar rather than a warrior. and only made emperor after the assassination of Caligula left the Praetorian Guard. You know what the Praetorian Guard is? 'Cause we always talk about the Praetorian Guard.
I'm held up on Caligula. Is that where calligraphy came from?
Jake, no.
Maybe.
No. The Praetorian
related.
Guard is the emperor's elite bodyguards who often acted as political kingmakers, choosing and even killing rulers.
Oh, so it's like the Secret Service, but they don't work for the ruler.
It's like the other way around. The Praetorian Guard. Yeah. The senators snickered at Claudius, doubting he could lead. So this guy wants glory carved in stone to silence them, which means what, Jake?
Okay.
Going to war. It means going to war. You always go to war. You want to be carved. You want a statue
with stone.
You got. If you want to be carved,
or you could just
in
build a monument to yourself.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Out of stone.
If they start throwing tomatoes at it and stuff, it's not gonna.
That's a waste of produce.
So for context, this is not long after the crucifixion of Christ, just 40 years.
Right. Yeah.
The Roman Colosseum won't even exist for another 30 years, and Britain has resources Rome wants. Tin,
I've been to
lead,
the Colosseum.
iron, grain. I have too. It has people, of course. That is a big resource. People that they can do what with? Enslave. That's right. That's right. And strategically, it was a threat. And left unconquered, Britain was a perfect base for raids across the channel into the Roman Gaul, which is modern day France. Yes, it's France. They had recently conquered that and turned it into a province not too long earlier. So
the Gauls,
the Gauls, Claudius sends 4 legions. 4 legions.
How many is a legion, Chris?
10,000.
Oh,
so he sent 40,000 soldiers.
That is more than I expected.
Me too. It's a little out of control for Britain, right? With dudes with blue paint on their faces.
Yeah.
He sent war elephants. Siege engines.
War elephants.
Yeah. Imagine shield walls crashing together, iron charging and clanging against iron, Roman pila thrown like a hailstorm. It's like rocks and burning things. Cassius Dio, a Roman historian, describes the Britons swimming their horses across rivers to strike the Romans from the flank. The fighting is hand to hand. It is brutal. They have spears, swords, and the glint of bronze helmets are half submerged in mud and blood. By the way, because I know you're wondering, Jake, the average Roman soldier stood around 5'7", and those shields. I don't
believe it.
It's true. Those shields, each scudum, which is what a shield is called, stood nearly 4 feet tall, big enough to cover a man from shoulder to knee when locked together. However, the average Briton facing them was a little shorter. Closer to 5'5", partly thanks to harder living and less consistent nutrition, which means Jake would have fit right in.
Yes, malnourished and worked hard. I don't know. Hey, when was the whole Braveheart? When did that movie take place? I know that was the clans of
It's much later. Much later.
Ireland?
Yeah,
okay.
We're talking. It's like 1,000 years later.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a little while, but that's much later on.
Got it.
On the first day of battle, neither side breaks. The Britons, fierce in their war paint, hold the opposite bank, screaming across the water. Roman discipline keeps the line steady, and the legionnaires dig in behind their scuda, their tower shields, locking them together like a wall. Night falls on a field of corpses, and the river Medway is choked with bodies. Day 2 is much worse. Romans drive in bridgeheads, which are temporary footholds, forced across the riverbank to secure position on the far side. Think of those tanks that pull up to the water and then the thing unloads and slaps down.
Yeah.
Those things are.
It's this,
those things are rad.
Not powered by a tank.
They're using elephants now. And cavalry to terrify the tribesmen. And can you imagine? Can you imagine?
You've never even seen an elephant before.
You've never seen or even heard.
What is this thing?
You can't read. You've never seen an elephant. There's not picture books. You can't go to a zoo.
No.
To them, it must have been a monster out of myth, taller than their huts, bellowing, armored, unstoppable. The river runs red, men drowning under the weight of their own armor. The clash is relentless, the screams rising in the morning mist. Thousands die before the Britons finally break. When it's done, the legions stand bloodied but unbroken. Claudius's path to London is clear. After Medway, the Thames is next. And here's the problem. The Thames is not a lazy brook. It's wide, brown, and tidal. 20 feet up and 20 feet down, twice a day. Try to picture that. A river that breathes in and out like a set of lungs, swelling, draining, ripping boats from their moorings. You can't ferry an empire across that.
This is a very stupid question because you know, and everyone listening should know by now, just how gifted I am when it comes to geography. How far inland is London?
It's like, well, by foot, or like, what are we talking about? Are we talking
I'm
by,
just curious, how is this river tidal? Like, clearly it's from the sea or the ocean. So how far in?
London's not that far. If you look
affected?
at, it's like the southeastern side of the United Kingdom. If you look at it now, it's like the southeastern, like kind of, you know, they could bomb it from, you know, France would fly planes over there and they drop bombs.
Right. I'm just curious how far inland
miles.
a river carries a tide more than anything else.
Oh, pretty far.
I didn't think that was a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But apparently it is. Okay.
So what do the Romans do, Jake? They build. That's what they do. That's what they do. The Romans build. They build things. They build roads. They build bridges. You know, some aqueducts. They build all kinds of stuff. So imagine this. You're a Roman engineer standing on the bank. Behind you, 40,000 soldiers, carts, oxen, and siege engines. In front of you, a swirling tidal mess. No cranes, no concrete mixers, no rebar, just sharpened oak logs, pilings, hammered into the riverbed with brute force, drop hammers slamming, massive weights hauled up by teams of laborers, often slaves, captured in conquest, then let loose to smash piles into the mud. No steam engines, no hydraulics, just muscle, sweat, and punishment.
Is this the first London Bridge?
This is the first London Bridge.
Whoa.
That's right. That first London Bridge is the reason London even exists. Without it, the camp is just another outpost. With it, you've got a crossing. A crossing makes a hub, and a hub makes a port, and a port makes a city. London is born because of that bridge. Without Rome forcing that crossing, there is no London, no city, and no port. The bridge, it wasn't just a structure, it was the hinge that made London possible. But nothing Rome built here was safe. Shortly after, in 60 AD, Boudica, queen of the Iceni, rises in revolt. She was a tall, flame-haired woman described by Roman writers as fierce and commanding. She had been publicly humiliated and beaten by Roman officials after her husband's death. Her daughters were assaulted. Her tribe's lands were seized. The Romans did not kill her. They thought breaking her spirit was enough. Make an example out of her. This was a mistake that would haunt them. That fury turned into fire. She rallied neighboring tribes and marched with a force some say numbered in the tens of thousands, with some estimates saying nearly 100,000, which at the time would have been nearly half the entire population of the Roman Britain area.
Wow.
Governor Suetonius, the Roman governor of Britain at the time, is badly outnumbered. He looks at the tiny Roman garrison in London and makes a brutal call. Abandon it. Save the province and sacrifice the town. Back in Rome, people were horrified that London had been left to burn.
Wait, is this the same dude that was trying to make a name for himself? Or
no,
so this is a appointed senator.
Yeah, he's like the governor. Claudius is way back in Rome.
They are not happy
building
with
statues.
Him, by the way, they are not happy with him.
Not happy. The rebels torch the settlement, and flames sweep through what little stood. Archaeologists to this day still dig through the thick red layer of ash left behind. Thousands are slaughtered or burned alive, and whatever crude bridge stood there certainly went with it. That is the rhythm that defines London Bridge for centuries. Build, burn, rebuild. Eventually, of course, Rome comes back, rebuilding the settlement and the bridge after Boudica's revolt. The legions reestablish order, construct sturdier defenses, and pour resources back in. Stronger and bigger. London grows. By the 2nd century, it's the capital of Roman Britain. Government buildings, walls, money flowing, all of it balanced on a bridge. But empires rot, and by the 5th century, the legions march out, and the Roman dynasty, not dynasty, what do you call it? The Roman what?
Empire?
Empire. The Roman Empire falls. Rome itself is collapsing under waves of invasions, economic strain, and political chaos. The city of Rome is even sacked in 410 AD. With the entire empire pulling its soldiers home, London is left exposed with no one to
What
maintain
came next?
it.
The Ottomans? Is that what came after Romans?
The Ottoman
Ottomans?
Empire. That's like the Middle East, right? That's like the Middle East came over, like Turkey,
No. Because like Germany there's a lot of Ottoman.
Is that the Ottoman? I don't know anything about that war.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm not like my war knowledge kind of like before the Revolutionary War kind of like starts to go. I should educate myself on that stuff more. It was really interesting learning about this stuff.
Isn't it a joke like when you hit 45, like you either just become a Roman enthusiast or a World War II enthusiast?
Oh,
right?
I love
like
World War II.
You either pick like you're into World War II or you're into Rome.
Well,
that was a meme for a while.
Both are interesting discussions about, I was looking at this stuff and the parallels that kind of get drawn between just the stupid things men do to each other. It's terrible. So the bridge collapses, and once again, the thriving town shrinks to a shadow of itself. Local tribal leaders and later Saxons govern the ruins. And while London all but disappears for a time, the site never truly dies. It waits in the ashes to resurge centuries later. All right, we're going to fast forward a little bit.
So like there was no bridge for hundreds of years. Just
there was a bridge, but it was just like without the Romans there and all the economics of the Romans coming there, it was really kind of, and remember, they didn't really have government, right? So for till like 1000 and 1100s, things didn't really start to take
clans.
Off. Just clans. By the 1100s and the 1200s, London is bursting.
Ooh.
While London strains at it seems, the wider world is just as alive. In China, the Song dynasty is inventing gunpowder. In the Middle East, Islamic scholars are preserving and expanding classical knowledge in great cities from Damascus to Baghdad. Meanwhile, in the Americas, which are unfound at the time, Mayan cities are fading and new cultures are rising. Britain is just one stage in a global drama of invention, war, and upheaval. The Crusades, Jake, are raging.
Ooh.
This is the age of chainmail and jousts. The picture book knights people imagine.
You meant chainmail, like you write a letter and then that person has to write 5 letters and, that chainmail.
No, that's actually...
That reference doesn't even exist anymore.
Chainmail, no, it really doesn't.
No one would know what chainmail is now.
No,
that type of chainmail.
No, it's just forwarding something on Instagram is the new chainmail.
Right. But I remember getting like a chainmail letter. And,
like, reply all.
You have to send this to 5 of your friends, otherwise
your dog will die.
The thing was. Yeah. Anyways,
legends like King Arthur and the Sword in the Stone help place this time frame. It is the world of castles, crusaders, romance, overlapping with the very real construction of another London bridge. The mood
when
has
were the sorry again question, and it's just giving you an excuse to cough. There you go. You're welcome.
Thank you.
When were the so-called or supposed Dark Ages?
1300s, I think. That's like you're thinking like later. Black Plague, bubonic plague, 1300s,
but also like medieval times.
Yes, the Dark Ages times. The medieval times, like when you're talking about the 1100s and 1200s, was actually kind of like a Renaissance time, right? There was a lot of things that were happening. But the Dark Ages were like the bubonic plague and war and famine and everything.
Well, that and like they say society, like,
collapsed,
like all of our
contracted.
Right. Yeah, like art and design and invention, like nothing happened for 300 years.
Everybody's too worried about not dying.
There is a conspiracy theory that has a lot of weight in it that those 300 years never existed.
Oh, Dark Ages is 5th to the 10th century. That was earlier. So that was this is post Dark Ages, 1100s.
Have you heard this theory though? The Dark Ages didn't actually even exist. Like, so literally what is it? It's the 21st century. It was created by the church, this 300-year span. So in theory, we actually are living in the 1800s, would it be right now? like by the actual timeline.
So they just manipulated the calendar somehow?
Yes, exactly. And so when they look back at records, they're like, part of it, and the whole reason they like think or know there were dark ages is like, well, there was hardly any records from these 300 years. Like clearly society collapsed and like nothing happened. And it's like, no, actually the thing was something about the church, and the Pope at the time wanted to line up the 1,000-year, or the point of like 1,000 years since Christ, like the turn of the millennia since Christ, with his own reign, and basically said, and there were some other political reasons. They're like, well,
Did
let's
they just go
call
around
it.
and burn all the books and burn all the calendars? Well, I guess nobody can
Well,
read.
think about it.
So what
At
are they
the
gonna
time,
do?
yeah, no one can read. No one knows what year it is, anyways. It doesn't matter. So they just go, all right,
Most
in
people
all
don't
records
even know how
now.
old they are.
Right.
I'm
It's
like
year-
36 and I'm going to die in the next 2 years.
It's year 900, not actually year. What would that be? Yeah, like 600. So there's
I
a
mean-
theory that like 300 years actually didn't exist.
So the
They
Dark
just
Ages was
fast-forward.
actually only like 10 years or something?
Right. Yeah. Anyways,
Interesting.
fascinating if you look at it, but
Centuries
that
earlier-
is neither here nor there.
Rome had pushed into Britain and folded it into an empire. Now, in the 11 and 1200s, English
Mhm.
lords join a pan-European march outward against Muslim powers in the East. Wars fought over faith, power, and identity.
Yes.
London is packed, filthy, alive with trade. Centuries of wars, Viking raids, and a Norman conquest have hardened Britain into a place used to rebuilding after violence. Its economy clawed its way back through wool exports, bustling markets along the London Bridge over the River Thames, and the constant flow of merchants from Europe. Still, timber bridges have burned and collapsed again and again. The city wants permanence.
Yeah. Let's build
So
this
they
in stone.
Yes. So they commissioned Peter of Colchurch, a priest with an engineer's brain, to build something nobody had ever attempted in England, a stone bridge across a tidal river. In those days, most educated men were clergy, because monasteries and churches where were learning and record living lived.
Were kept. Yeah. Right.
I'm trying so hard. You guys,
I know.
I'm a little ill. I'm trying not to cough.
Chris is under the weather.
Usually I read all these ahead of time. I write them and then I'll read them out loud to Jesse and go through and make corrections on things that are hard to read.
We didn't have that.
I'm trying to save my voice.
This is director's cut. Straight
Yeah.
to director's cut. Okay.
Peter wasn't just praying over souls. He was trained in practical knowledge, geometry, and the kind of organizational skill it took to marshal a workforce for a project just like this. How do you even do it?
Right.
Today, you would drop steel sheet piles, pump it dry, and pour in reinforced concrete. Easy.
Exactly. Yes.
In the 1170s, you had oak, rubble, and willpower, and the brute labor of hundreds of workers. Most of them peasants, craftsmen, or guild laborers. Some were coerced or conscripted into service. They weren't exactly slaves in the Roman sense.
Okay.
They drove oak piles.
Debtors, probably.
Debtors.
Like,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Man, sorry you didn't pay your garbage bill. You're going to have to go wander around
to
this
work.
tidal muck. So what they did is they would drive oak piles into the mud in an oval nearly 20 to 30 feet across. They would lash them together and then fill it with rubble until it rose like a man-made island. Imagine a giant wooden basket shoved into the riverbed and stuffed with stone until it became a solid ground where none existed. Around that, they built another cage, bigger, and stuffed it full of more rubble. That was called a starling. It was an
and then
armor.
do you remove the center rubble?
No, you do not.
Okay.
Nope. That was armor against tides, ice, boats, driftwood. It was basically a crash barrier protecting the bridge.
Okay. Got it.
Inside that wooden and rubble island, masons laid stone until it rose above the waterline. This became the pier, the massive stone base that would carry the weight of the arches above. Think of each pier as a solid block, like a squat tower sunk into the river, the thing that everything else rests on.
Right.
Building one could take months, even a year, with hundreds of laborers moving thousands of tons of stone by hand and cart and cutting down entire groves of oak to feed the piles and scaffolding.
Yeah, think of the forests that they had to just
gone.
disappear.
Yeah, gone. 19 of these were built, each one a fortress, rising out of the water like stone towers planted in the current. On top of these piers, they raised arches. Picture a wooden skeleton built as a mold. Stone blocks are laid one by one along the curve, each wedge locking tighter until the keystone is dropped in, and the whole thing holds under its own weight. These were not cemented like modern bridges. They were masonry arches, cut and carved stone fitted so precisely that gravity and geometry alone kept them standing.
As long as your piling doesn't like sink.
As
or
long as
settle.
your piling doesn't sink. Picture the mason at work, hauling blocks of Kentish ragstone, which is basically limestone from
limestone.
Kent.
Yeah. Okay.
They're chiseling them with iron tools and wooden mallets, each edge shaped by hand. He's standing in ankle-deep mud, sweat on his face, and dust in his lungs. To measure,
Blimey!
now, I don't know.
A lot.
He's a priest. He's probably not. He's probably he's a nice guy.
Good Lord.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He's standing in that mud, measuring with something called a crude divider, which is kind of like a compass. It has two iron legs. It's joined at the top, and they would scratch the arcs into wood or wax. That's how he copied the curves and transferred the measurements from board to stone. For alignment, he drops plumb blobs on strings and uses straight rods as sight lines. Straight rods. So picture this.
How do you find a straight rod?
I don't know. I actually looked for like pictures of like straight rods. I don't know.
Is it just a stick? It's just a tree that's like, this one's really straight.
Picture this. Men crouch in the mud, laying long poles end to end, peering along them with one eye closed to check if the line stayed true. It's primitive, almost laughably simple compared to lasers and levels today, but it worked. Those rods and strings kept geometry true in the middle of chaos. The stones are dragged in by ox cart or floated down the river on barges. Each block a small mountain, moved by rope, and again, sheer will. These masons were not anonymous laborers. They were skilled craftsmen, trained through guilds, which I was like, what's a guild?
Yes.
Is it like a...
Well, obviously the Freemasons, Chris.
I was wondering if it was like is it like the union? But it sounds like it's a mix between college and labor union. Training craftsmen through apprenticeship and also protecting their trade and years of apprenticeship, passing knowledge from father to son. Very often, father to son. Sure. That's why your name would be like Carl's son, because you want to be the son of Carl and you're the blacksmith or whatever.
It'd be Masonson?
Masonson? No, well, you'd be Charles Mason. That, you know.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, clearly.
The names were very simple back then.
Yes, made a
so
lot of
no
sense.
cement binds their work, only the geometry of the arch. Their world was noise, dust, and risk. Some spans were 15 feet, some 30, depending on where the piles would bite. Asymmetrical from day one, a row of uneven stone ribs stretching across the River Thames.
So they, assumedly, when they started to put these pilings, they're like, all right, by design, we're going to make them, we're going to go 30 feet or whatever it is.
Didn't work.
They found, like, when I talk about the piling sinking or settling, that obviously happened. And so they're like, well,
they can't use that.
Can't do it there. So we're going to go another 10, 15 feet.
Tip that one over and start over. This is why it took forever. It took 30 years to build this bridge.
Yeah.
And when it opened in 1209, there was fanfare, bells ringing, processions across its length. King John took credit, though the true genius was Peter of Colchurch and the masons who carved it from stone. Medieval chroniclers wrote of its marvel, and later artists sketched and painted its arches, capturing the pride of a city that had never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
And then London went insane.
What?
They didn't just cross the bridge. They colonized it.
Oh,
imagine looking up as you stepped onto the span. Houses looming above you. Timber stacked 3, 4, even 6 stories high. Tilting toward the river like they might topple in a storm. Cross buildings overhead made stretches of the bridge into shadowed tunnels. Sunlight broken into shards. There were about 140 to 150 properties crammed onto that stone spine. Between 500 and 800 people live there. An entire
village.
Real
estate that hard to find? Like, why?
You're trying to capture the commerce as it comes into London, Jake.
So literally, you're just making your shop over the bridge. And as a shopkeeper, you need to live above your shop, obviously.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Who mandated, like, was the city selling plots along the bridge, or did some guy just come in and he's like, his cart that he brought onto the bridge one day, the wheel broke and it stopped working, and then he's like, well, I'm just going to camp out next to my cart that I can't get off the bridge, and then he starts just building up his cart into a shop, and then someone else goes, I'm going to do that.
I think that's probably what it was. You have highwaymen, right? You know what a highwayman is? They just wander the highway, and maybe they decided, hey, I'm going to sell some of this shit at the entrance to the bridge. Like you said, they set up a tent, and then someone else set up a tent, and I'm sure it spiraled out of control, over the course of years. Yeah. Shops at street level sold everything from gloves and knives to books, while families cooked, fought, and slept above them. You could hear the hammering of a cutler next to the chanting of a chapel choir. Later came the non-such house.
I'm sorry?
Yes, it's the non-such house. A timber palace with ridiculous onion domes, shipped piece by piece from Holland and assembled like a Lego set balanced over the river. It was the largest prefabricated building of its time, carried across the channel, plank by plank, every joint numbered and rebuilt without a single nail. Only wooden pegs held it together. Imagine standing on this bridge, looking up at this cartoonish palace perched above shops and hovels like a fairy tale dropped into a slum. It made no sense. And that was the point. A ridiculous flex that somehow balanced on the same arches already sagging under the weight of a small town. So, it wasn't just a crossing. It was a neighborhood, a fortress, a market, and a fire trap. All of it suspended over 19 uneven arches, fighting the tides.
Yeah.
Jake, think about the load. Stone arches below, a road barely wide enough for two wagons. Yeah, isn't it ridiculous?
That's a painting from period.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of paintings. There's obviously no photos or anything like that because,
right,
photography didn't exist.
Just wild. Like, what?
I didn't know any of this. I just started digging in.
I vaguely, it sounds familiar. There was a weird, just, it's so
Think
wild.
about the load, Jake. 140 houses, 150 houses and buildings, kitchens with open flames, chimneys coughing smoke into the fog, families packed overhead. Add livestock, carts, priests, beggars, butchers with bleeding carcasses hung from hooks, taverns sloshing ale, blacksmiths hammering iron, even a public latrine dripping straight into the river. Chickens
probably
are loose
not
in the road. Dogs are snapping at heels, and pigs are rooting in the garbage. Feral children are darting through horses.
Ooh,
Eventually,
feral children.
Carriages thundered through the chaos. It was less a bridge than a circus stacked on stone.
Could you even get through?
No. And we're going to get there.
Okay, I was like, at what point did they start charging? Yeah.
It's a very interesting discovery.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. John Stowe, in his survey of London, didn't just mention the bridge in passing. He marveled at how it was, quote, replenished on both sides with large, fair, and beautiful houses, describing it as though it were another great street of the city suspended above the Thames. To him, the bridge wasn't just a crossing, but its own district, packed with noise and color. Centuries later, Bruce Watson pushed the point further, calling it, quote, a chaotic blend of commerce, housing, and traffic, equal parts market, fortress, and madhouse, unlike anything else in medieval Europe. By any sane measure, it should have collapsed. The load was absurd. Some estimates suggest thousands of tons of stone, plus the weight of 140 houses, hundreds of animals and carts and people packed shoulder to shoulder. It's like parking a small town, maybe 20 or 30 fully loaded 747 jets on top of a row of stone arches. The design was constantly patched, and no modern inspector would have signed off on it. But somehow it worked. Overbuilt piers, redundant arches, and sheer stubborn medieval engineering. And maybe the secret was that there was no OSHA, no building codes, and no safety limits.
No one cared.
They piled it high and trusted stone and a lot of Catholic faith for it to hold. On foot in the 1300s, it wasn't just the shops and animals anymore. It was claustrophobia.
Okay, hold on.
There
exists a scale model of what this looked like at the peak.
There it is. It looks
And
rad.
it does look very cool. Hold on, where is it again? Like, this is obviously in some old cathedral or something, but
Yeah.
that is, look how long, like, this is a good shot because you can see just how damn long the thing is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 150 houses plus buildings.
Did you get to the point where there's a drawbridge? Because I'm looking and there's a drawbridge.
I did not see the drawbridge.
What?
That's great.
Like at some point, someone just removed this and they're like, "What?
Yeah, we need a drawbridge here. Sorry, John, we got to pull down your house."
Yeah. Okay. Well, bizarre. Wow.
In the 1300s, a crush of bodies pressed in from all sides. Shoulders jammed, breath hot on your neck, hawkers shouting in your ear, beggars tugging at your sleeve and dogs at your legs. Buckets of sewage dumped from windows splashing into the river. The stink of fish guts and coal smoke so thick it coats your tongue. It was a sensory overload, a tunnel of noise and a smell and humanity jammed into stone. By carriage in the 1600s, way worse. The roadway was maybe 15 feet wide, hemmed by stone and timber. 2 wagons could scrape past if both drivers had the guts and a little luck and they were in the right spot. Gridlock was constant. Tempers always boiled. Wheels grinded on cobbles. It got so bad that in 1722, the city had to issue an ordinance forcing drivers to keep left. That simple order is why Britain still drives on the left today, born out of frustration on the London Bridge. The idea came from the city authorities in 1722, desperate to untangle the chaos. Drivers were instructed to keep to the left as they crossed, a rule enforced by wardens posted on each end. And it worked. The gridlock eased, crashes lessened, and soon the habit spread beyond the bridge. Over time, it became law, and then tradition, woven so deeply into British life that 3 centuries later, the entire country still follows a traffic rule born on that cramped medieval span.
Do you know why you stay to the left, Chris?
Tell me.
It's because, let me think of this now. It's something about how you're right-handed and you're driving a team of horses. You're using that hand to use your, it's a whip. I'm sure there's an actual name for it because it's not just a whip. It's like
it's a crop
with the rope on the end.
It's a crop.
Yes, yeah. Sure. Thank you. The crop. And so if that's, or maybe that's in your left hand because you're right-handed and you need this for something else. And so you're on that side and you want to be able to see. It's just like how you drive, on the right here because you're closer to the left side. So it had to do with where the position of the driver was
where
on
they
the
sat
cart.
on the horse.
Correct.
Yeah, where they sat
on the cart. Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yep, you're good. I can buy you a model of the old London Bridge that you can build in all your spare time.
Why don't you tell me
it's
about
a board game.
Why don't you tell me about FCP Euro?
No, I'm just going to keep looking at all of these models you can build. No, instead, you should go out and work on your car and build that with FCP Euro, which is, of course, an online retailer of OE, OEM, aftermarket, and genuine performance parts. They have parts for BMW. They have parts for Porsche, Volvo, Audi, Volkswagen, and more. Their catalog is a one-stop shop with over 275,000 unique products in climbing, including expert assembled kits that make shopping simpler and your DIY job much easier. It takes all the guesswork out of the process. No more wondering if you need that extra part that may or may not go with the job. Plus, every product they sell is backed by a lifetime replacement guarantee. Even wear items like the wiper blades, your brake pads,
break it on the rally
filters.
You break it on the rally, they'll take care of you. Just send it back.
They sure will. Yeah. They, of course, are shipping from both coasts now, Mesa, Arizona, as well as out of Connecticut. So you'll get all of your parts in basically 3 days or less with free shipping. So it's amazing. We, of course, at Overcrest have been working with FCP Euro for years, and they're just awesome people behind the brand itself. They're real enthusiasts that are passionate about what they do, the cars we love, and, of course, us, the customer. Check them out today, fcpeuro.com. Take advantage of free shipping on any order over $49.
All of that bustle and weight, Jake, is coming at a cost because a bridge stuffed with horses and houses and people and wagons was nothing but
heavy,
a tinderbox.
Oh, right. Yeah, that too.
To go up in flames. Crowds were packed tight and chimneys puffed smoke. It was a setup for disaster. It was dangerous from the start. The most infamous fire was in 1212, when flames broke out on both ends of the bridge at once.
What?
That seems very...
Yeah,
That seems like someone was doing arson there.
I believe
Did
so.
you know it's called doing arson, not committing arson? Like, you do arson. It's something you do.
That is quite odd. Why do
It
you
is
do
odd.
it?
I don't know. Jesse's
So
always saying,
are you going to do an arson?
do an arson.
Is
You're
it-
going to do arson.
That's how
Yeah,
you do it. You're going to
that
do
too.
an arson.
Yeah. They trapped hundreds of people in the middle.
I
Imagine
suppose
that terror. Jake.
Yeah, you can't
Smoke
go
rolling
either
in,
way.
heat pushing people back from either
Oof.
side. The only
I
escape,
mean, the good news is you're on a bridge. You can jump
Yes.
off.
many leapt into the River Thames, their wool and linen clothing catching fire before they even hit the current. Contemporary,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Swimming
Contemporary
probably also
Chronicles.
isn't prevalent.
Yeah, no, probably not a lot of swimming happening. Contemporary chroniclers like Matthew Paris claimed thousands perished that day, though the real number may have been in the hundreds. Still, it was one of the deadliest urban fires of the Middle Ages, etched into their memory. Proof that London Bridge was still a death trap, as much as it was a lifeline. In 1633, the fire gutted the northern houses again, torching whole rows of timber shops. And yet, in an ironic twist, that devastation created a firebreak that would later save the day when the Great Fire of 1666 roared through London, consuming more than 13,000 houses, 90 churches. The gap left by the 1633 blaze stopped the flames from sweeping across the entire bridge.
I suppose. Yeah, that's good.
Samuel Pepys, the diarist, wrote of standing on the river and watching, quote, "The poor pigeons, I perceive, were loth to leave their houses, but hovered above the windows and balconies till they burned and their wings fell down." Without that accidental
actually
fire
talking
break,
about pigeons, or is he talking about people?
I'm not sure. He's a diarist, not a poet.
Right. So you know.
Without that accidental fire break, the destruction would have been total and complete. The river itself posed its own cruelty. The starlings, if you remember those massive stone casings around each pier, strangled the flow so badly that the water level above the bridge stood up to 6 feet higher than below. Basically a dam.
Okay.
At ebb tide, it blasted through the narrow arches like a dam releasing floodwater. Boatmen called it shooting the bridge. And it was notorious. Skilled watermen would charge extra to take passengers through, steering hard against the torrent, praying they didn't smash against the stone. Newspapers of the 1700s carried regular notices of drownings, whole ferries upended, barges splintered. It was said more Londoners died trying to shoot the bridge than from the highwaymen murdering and robbing them on the roads. In winter, the current slowed above the bridge, and in the winter, the slowed current above the bridge allowed the Thames to freeze solid.
Sure.
Out of this hazard came spectacle. Frost fairs. Imagine rows of tents and stalls set up on the ice, hawkers selling gingerbread and roasted meat.
I see where this is going, Chris.
No, we're okay. Yeah, no, that's okay.
Totally fine.
We're fine.
We're not going through the ice.
We're not going
totally
through the ice.
fine.
Coaches rattled across frozen water. Children skated with bones tied to their shoes. And Londoners drank gin by bonfires lit on a river turned to glass.
Nice.
The last great frost fair was in 1814 when an elephant was marched across the ice.
Oh, no. Here we go.
But in medieval centuries, it was a recurring carnival, born from a river, throttled by the bridge. Sadly, no, Jake. The elephant
didn't go through?
Everything's not a tragedy, dude. Come on.
The elephant totally went through the ice.
And then, of course, as with anything, there are politics involved. The bridge wasn't just commerce and chaos. It was a stage for power. The Southwark Gate became a grotesque gallery. Its spikes crowned with severed heads, tarred and blackened for all to see. William Wallace, Braveheart.
Yeah, I know the name.
Okay, well, you brought it up earlier.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah. I didn't put it together. Yes, thank you. That's
William Wallace had his head, stuck there in 1305. He was a traitor to some, hero to others. It was stuck there as a warning. The severed heads were literally scalded in boiling pitch or brine to preserve them. The skin turned black and leathery. The features twisted into grotesque masks.
Did they do that before or after killing them?
Well, they cut their head off and then stick it in the boiling pitch.
Okay, so probably not alive
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, it's called
That's probably good.
parboiling, is what it's
That's
called.
good. Ish.
After the Peasants' Revolt in 1381, Wat Tyler's followers ended the same way. In 1535, it was Thomas More, once Lord Chancellor, his head set beside common criminals. More was not just a politician. He was a Renaissance humanist, lawyer, and writer. His most famous work, Utopia, any socialist should read Utopia, described an imaginary island society organized around shared property, strict rules, and communal living. At the time, it was satire and social commentary, but centuries later, people would seize on it as a precursor to criticizing socialist and communist thought. More refused to bend to Henry VIII split with the Catholic Church,
Henry the Eighth, I am.
choosing scaffold over compromise. That stubbornness
for
made
hanging.
him a martyr to
Yes.
some and a villain to others, and finally just another head on a pike above London Bridge.
It
Foreign
probably didn't
visitors-
smell good either, Chris.
I don't know. Maybe they're cooked.
The tar sealed it in. Yeah.
Well, tar, the brine, you know.
Let's be honest. That was not the worst smelling thing on London Bridge.
No, I'm sure it was not. This is not a. I don't think people showered or bathed much more than.
I don't think people
or
had a
every couple
sense of
weeks.
smell.
No. It's only what you get used to. Foreign
Yes.
visitors like the German traveler Paul Hentzner in the late 1500s wrote with horror about crossing under the grisly displays, noting the rows and rows of heads, quote, parboiled and set upon poles on the most conspicuous part of the bridge. From the road, you could see hollow eye sockets, lips shrunk back from teeth, crows pulling at their hair. It was a theater of decay, deliberately made to last longer, a message rotting in slow motion above the Thames. Others described the stench that drifted down the roadway, the sight of crows pecking at faces. To them, it was both terrifying and unforgettable, proof that London ruled by fear as much as law. It told every traveler exactly who ruled London and what defiance would cost them. Eventually, by the 1700s, the bridge was exhausted. The weight of centuries had caught up with it. The once teeming houses were finally torn down by 1761. Whole families and shops evicted in the name of safety. The roadway was widened to cope with the crush of carts and carriages, but the old medieval piers still strangled the Thames, turning the river into a bottleneck that backed up sewage and trade alike. Traffic was changing. Coaches were larger, wagons were heavier, and soon the first rumble of industry was echoing in the city. The bridge that once embodied London now felt like a choke chain around its throat. Parliament debated it for years before finally ordering a new bridge, admitting that the medieval marvel had become a liability, a relic from another age. John Rennie designed a granite five-arch bridge, which opened in 1831. The medieval bridge stood after 6 centuries, finally came down stone by stone. 600 years, Jake, that other bridge stood. 600 years.
A testament.
By the 1960s...
Wait, so why is London Bridge falling down? It's clearly not.
By the 1960s, even Rennie's proud granite bridge, barely 130 years old, was sinking under the pounding of lorries, buses, and cars it had never been designed to carry. The Thames clay beneath its piers gave way, the whole span dropping an inch every 8 years. For a structure meant to last centuries, it felt almost pathetic, a reminder that Victorian engineering, for all its triumphs, was not invincible. Londoners grumbled at the bottlenecks. Parliament studied reports of subsidence, and eventually the city conceded it needed yet another replacement bridge. Rennie's Bridge, once a marvel of the 1830s, was written off as obsolete within almost a single human lifetime. Strangely, Robert McCullough, an American oil man and developer who had literally founded Lake Havasu City out of an empty desert in the 1960s, bought the bridge in 1968 for under $2.5 million as a way to draw people to its brand new creation. Each of Rennie's granite blocks was carefully numbered, dismantled, and shipped
Wow.
across the Atlantic, through the Panama Canal, and hauled by truck into the Arizona desert.
Whoa.
Under the blazing sun, workers reassembled it over a man-made canal that McCullough had cut through the sand, but with a twist. The old stones were now just a skin wrapped around a reinforced concrete core. What had once held back the Thames now stood over an artificial waterway built as much for marketing as for function.
Yeah.
It opened in 1971 with marching bands, parades, and a carnival atmosphere. The stunt worked. Thousands of curious visitors came to see the bridge from London, reborn in the desert, and property sales in McCullough's new city boomed. The rumor has always lingered that McCullough thought he was buying Tower Bridge. Probably not true. The man knew that headlines would cause confusion and generate buzz. The gamble paid off, and he turned an obsolete Victorian crossing into a marketing coup, and in the process made London Bridge more famous in Arizona than it had ever been in London.
Yep.
So today, London Bridge stands in the desert, palm trees, fake Tudor pubs, a street in the sky reborn as a marketing stunt. And I'm still mad at you and Jeff.
For what?
Because
Why?
I wanted to go. I wanted to see it, and you guys abandoned me that morning. You guys left. I was in the Scirocco, and I was with Jesse, and you guys left us. You guys left us, and I couldn't catch you. 100%. The Scirocco was too slow, I think, and you guys were like, "See you later," and you were gone.
I don't even know if Jeff even went with me. I think it was just chasing me that went over on the car.
I don't know. I actually don't.
It was. No, I know, but I feel like that was just kind of like.
What did you see? Tell me about what you saw there. Explain visiting the London Bridge.
I literally was on the highway and saw a road that said London Bridge, arrow, and I was like, "What?" And so I turned, knowing nothing about it at all. And
really?
as I'm telling Chase in the passenger seat, I was like, "Can you Google? Like, did they move the London Bridge or something?" And sure enough, like that was the assumption, and sure enough, they did.
What did it look like?
Now I didn't know it's only like a facade, but like
yeah.
It was not that remarkable. It seemed like just a bridge in any other like.
Would it
didn't even look that
more
old.
remarkable in 1968? Do you think? Do you think you're spoiled?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it was really that impressive. It did look like it had the most like English seeming thing about the whole thing was like the old timey like gas lanterns.
Yeah,
that were probably LED at this point, but like they had those along there, and so it looked very like, huh. And I was kind of surprised, like, I can drive on this, huh? Like, this is just a road.
This ancient ass bridge, yeah.
So, yeah, it was
back
not
in
that
London.
special.
The current London Bridge is a plain but sturdy concrete and steel span, opened in 1973. No houses,
lame,
no palaces, no circus of chaos. Just 6 lanes of traffic and footpaths carrying thousands across the Thames every day. The modern London Bridge is functional, boring, but it does its job. A reminder that after 2,000 years of collapse and reinvention, the city still cannot live without a bridge in this spot.
Yeah, it is interesting. They kept putting it in the same spot.
Yep. Well, it's probably the shortest distance across the water.
I suppose.
The song maybe echoes a Viking saga. Maybe it's about the endless repairs. Maybe it's just gallows humor from people who knew the bridge was always half broken. But who is the fair lady? Nobody knows for sure. Some say it was Eleanor of Provence, queen consort to Henry III, who once held rights to tolls on the bridge. Others argue it was the Virgin Mary, the church's dedication on the bridge itself. Still, others think it was just a stand-in, a rhymes placeholder, like saying dear lady or fine lady with no name at all. The mystery is why part of that song stuck. It lets every generation imagine their own figure watching the bridge crumble. But the truth is simple. London Bridge really was always almost falling down, and people kept singing about it.
Yeah, interesting. It was basically making fun of the whole situation.
Yes. What makes it worth remembering, though, isn't that it was always failing, is that it did hold for those 600 years.
600 years, yeah, right.
That's the London Bridge I think about when I read all this and stuff. I'm not thinking about the Romans. And
I didn't know there
bridge.
was, like a halfway, like a, I don't know, the what, 70-year bridge, 80-year bridge?
6 centuries of insane loads with a whole town perched above a tidal river, carried by
That's-
uneven arches on rubble-filled cages. Fires, floods, ice, executions,
Wild.
and none of it came down. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't neat. It was messy, crooked, patched, overcrowded. That's probably why it worked. Like an old race car held together with duct tape and stubbornness, it flexed instead of snapping. It wasn't just a crossing. It was London itself.
Yep. I like it. And if you're looking to find where the London Bridge is in
yes.
Arizona,
How do we
look
find
no
it?
further than using the best app for navigating your next adventure, Onyx Off-Road. With over 750,000 miles of trails, comprehensive offline maps, as well as normal roadway maps, you can explore without worrying about cell service if you don't have service in Arizona, for instance. The app features trail ratings, detailed information, a discover tool to help you find your nearest trails. It includes public and private land boundaries. You always know where you can off-road, camp, explore. You can stay connected with the self-service layer so you know where you'll have service. And you have wildfire layers that help you avoid active fires. You also have tools like Route Builder, waypoint marking, real-time updates, route sharing. You're basically fully equipped for any adventure. Try it free for 7 days at Onyx Off-Road today.
All right. Do you have a favorite
And
bridge?
Chris, hold
What?
on.
What?
Hold on. That original road was cobblestone, right?
Mm.
And I imagine the second, was it? Yeah, the one I went over, I think, was cobblestone as well. Yeah, it was a cobblestone bridge.
Yeah, I imagine.
in
I mean,
Arizona.
they're not pouring concrete in
Right.
1880.
Yeah. And if you had like DOTR tires or something on it, would not be good for cobblestone bridge, right? That's
No.
why Nokian has released their latest tire,
Ooh, this was
which
good.
is not only a high performance tire, it also has all season capabilities. It's made specifically for driving across the London Bridge. It's for those that want the most out of their tire without sacrificing capability when the roads might get slick or bumpy. It offers the grip of a dedicated performance tire, but won't leave you stranded if the road or weather gets rough. It does come with a 55,000 mile warranty, but not only that, it also comes with Nokian Tires pothole protection. So if you happen
me
to
say
damage
something,
your
Jake.
tire beyond
Make sure
repair,
if you're coming on the
what?
rally, make sure you check your email because you're going to be getting a discount
Ooh,
on the new tire, the Surpass.
yes, you will.
So you're going to be getting 30% off. You can put them on your rally car, you can put them on your daily driver, you can whatever you want. We're going to be
Yes.
setting 30%
Thank
off
you
if
for
you're
noting
coming on
that.
the rally. So
Yep.
keep an eye on your inbox for that.
And
open
if
those Overcrest emails.
If you got like hit a pothole, maybe like while you're on the rally on your brand new tires, oh no, but fret not. Nokian Tires will actually replace the tire free of charge with their pothole protection plan. So check it out at nokiantires.com/surpass.
Do you have a favorite bridge, Jake? Have you? Let me ask you this. Actually, have you been in New York City?
No.
So you have not seen the Brooklyn Bridge.
I have not seen Brooklyn or any of the boroughs.
They're so
subsequent
cool,
bridges.
man. These stone bridges and some of this stuff it's absolutely beautiful. And I know that we've moved on. I think things used to have to be bigger back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just had to have more to them because we didn't have the engineering we had to rely more on brute strength than finesse when it came to engineering.
Sure.
So you have all these big monolithic things. And now things have gotten so efficiency based, right? It's from like an economic and material standpoint when you talk about how things need to be built.
That has a charm of its own.
No, it doesn't.
Look at old trellis train bridges. Don't you think those are cool in a way because they are so minimalistic?
Because they're all the same. They don't stand out. It's all the same design over and over again. I mean, I will look at it. Are you talking like the underside trellis bridge, like the arches that go underneath the rail?
That's
or
a substructure or a superstructure. Either way, I'm going to tell you about my favorite bridges.
Okay,
two
go
of
ahead.
which are train bridges.
I'm listening.
Because you asked. Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
they're all three are on the St. Croix River. So the Arcola High Bridge. Have you ever heard of or seen or been
Is that
to?
the one that looks like Mickey Mouse ears?
No.
The one in Prescott
the-
there? That has the big...
No, that's a different one. Yeah, that is a
Okay.
Mickey Mouse one because it has that one raises. Ooh, that's the fourth bridge I like. Okay.
Okay.
No, if you Google Arcola High Bridge, it is a massive span, extremely high up because there's bluffs, and they're like, well, we got to get a train track across. Back in I think it was built in the late 1800s, actually. I should look this up if you're not.
I got you.
Okay. And what's cool about it is back in when we were in high school, you can drive right up to the edge of it, up at the top, and there was nothing stopping you from walking all the way out. And there's no railings. There's no actually like floor or like support. It's literally just railroad ties
Yeah,
on
with
top of the beams.
just nothing
like
underneath.
there's nothing there.
So do you like this bridge because of your nostalgia of doing that as a kid?
A little bit, but I also like that it's so unsafe and it's still there. And it's just like that photo didn't do it justice how high up in the air you are and how far it spans. So that's cool. And I think that is very charming in its own way. Like that is a very cool bridge. Objectively.
I would say for me it kind of comes from nostalgia too. I really do like this is such a boring choice.
What is your favorite bridge?
I do like I really do like the Golden Gate Bridge.
Okay.
Driving across it is really, really special. It's very cool. It is enormous.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that if they were to build that bridge again, it would not look like that.
No, you're right.
It would be much
100%.
simpler. Even if you look at the new Stillwater Bridge, it's really just boring.
It is.
I remember
and that's even a suspension bridge, technically.
It is technically. Let's see if that. Yeah, here I've got a picture of this thing too. I remember taking my boat up there when they were building this bridge, and they were flying in some of the sections because everything's just built on a barge and sections now. You know, they don't really build it on site.
Yeah,
but it's kind of boring.
The coolest thing about this bridge is underneath you can see like there are the two like roadways. Think of it as basically two separate like channels, and they're big sections. They're big hollow like U-shaped underneath sections that are, as you said, like lifted into place and put there. But that means inside there's basically two giant tunnels underneath the roadway, and that's where all of like your utility conduit and everything goes through. But there is access to go through there, and I would love to see photos of what that looks like. Or
maybe we can sneak in there.
Yeah,
maybe we could ask permission. You're getting
That'd
really
be better.
You're getting really good at permitting. When we were out in California, we were dealing with government.
I unfortunately, yeah.
See
so you want me to
friendly.
get a permit to get into the bridge?
Yes,
I like that. Okay, I like that plan.
All right, I'm running out of voice, so I'm going to let you go. I'll leave you and everyone else with a little bit of a song.
Boy.
Take care, everybody. We will see you all next week.
Take care. Oh my God. It's so creepy. Why is it so